Welcome to Have More Babies.
Great to be here.
Today, we're diving into something, well, pretty much everyone with kids faces, getting them to cooperate.
Yeah, it can feel like a constant battle sometimes, can it?
Totally. So we found this really practical piece from OmegaPediatrics.com. It's called How to Always Get Your Child to Cooperate with You, a manual for instruction of the child.
Catchy title.
It is, and it feels like a good way to, maybe get some shortcuts or clearer strategies, less guesswork.
Exactly, and it's grounded in pediatric experience, which I think adds a lot of weight. It's practical advice, not just theory.
Okay, let's get into it. The first big idea seems simple, but maybe it's not always obvious. Using language that fits their age. Developmentally appropriate instructions.
Yeah, this is huge. The article uses a great example. We as adults might say something like, "It's about time we started heading home."
Uh-huh. Sounds normal to me.
Right, but think about it. That phrase involves understanding time concepts, implied actions.
Yeah.
It's actually quite abstract.
Okay, I see where you're going.
For a young child, that might just fly over their head. They need something much more direct.
Like what the article suggests. It is time to go.
Precisely. Super clear. No room for misinterpretation based on their, developmental stage.
That's a real light bulb moment, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
tweaking the words slightly.
Yeah.
It's not about them being deliberately difficult. Maybe they just genuinely don't get what we're asking sometimes.
It happens more often than we probably think, which kind of naturally leads to the next point, being specific and making sure they're actually, listening.
Right. Not just talking at them while they're busy with something else.
Exactly. That whole multitasking thing. It's largely a myth, especially for kids. You need their attention before you give the instruction.
Makes sense. The article mentions getting their attention first, maybe with a gentle touch or making eye contact.
Yes, those little things signal, okay, I need you to listen now. And crucially, it also talks about our emotional state.
Ah, yes. The shouting thing.
Right. If we're yelling or sound really frustrated, what does the child focus on?
The yelling, probably. The anger, not the instruction itself.
Exactly. The emotion completely overshadows the message. So the advice is, take a breath, calm yourself down first.
And then repeat it calmly and clearly.
Yeah. Almost like you're speaking to someone learning the language. Simple, clear, calm.
Okay, so you've got their attention. You've given a clear, age-appropriate instruction, calmly. What's next? Just walk away and hope for the best.
If only. No, the article stresses supervision. Especially with younger kids, you can't just issue the command and assume it's done.
You need to kind of guide them through it sometimes.
Exactly. It's not about micromanaging or hovering constantly. It's about being present to help them succeed with the task.
And that ties into feedback, right? The article talks about that too.
Yes, feedback is critical. Praising them when they do it or even when they make a good effort. Positive reinforcement.
That makes sense. Builds them up. But it also mentions giving constructive feedback if needed.
Right, but carefully. The warning is against too much criticism. You don't want to just tear down their effort or make them feel like they can't do anything right.
That could really backfire. Hurt their self-esteem.
For sure. So the idea is to frame it as guidance. Let's try it this way, rather than, you did that wrong, guiding towards success.
I like that framing. Guiding success. Now, another point that feels kind of obvious, but maybe we forget it in the moment, is warmth. Friendliness.
Yeah, our whole demeanor matters. If we're grumpy or sighing when we ask them to do something.
Who wants to cooperate with that? I wouldn't.
Exactly. So approaching it with a positive attitude, a smile even. The article also mentions getting physically close, making eye contact.
That nonverbal communication again.
It reinforces connection, makes the child feel seen, less like they're just being ordered around.
And there was that interesting point about who benefits most.
Oh, yeah. That was counterintuitive, but true. The article points out that we, the adults giving the instructions, actually benefit the most when the child cooperates.
So approaching it warmly isn't just for them. It makes our lives easier too.
Pretty much. It helps create a more harmonious vibe for everyone. And even a light touch, like a hand on the shoulder, can apparently help gain attention positively.
Okay, so warmth, connection, clear instructions, supervision. There was one more key principle. The say it once rule.
Yes. This one requires some discipline from us.
Okay, explain that. Say it once. What if they don't do it?
Well, the idea is after you've made sure you have their attention and you've given the instruction clearly and appropriately, you say it once. And then you wait expectantly, maybe offer encouragement, but you resist the urge to repeat the instruction over and over.
What's the thinking there?
The thinking is, if we always repeat ourselves multiple times, we actually teach kids to ignore the first request. They learn they don't really need to listen until the third or fourth time, maybe when we start yelling.
Ooh, okay. That makes uncomfortable sense. So saying it once builds their ability to listen and follow through the first time.
That's the goal. It fosters responsibility. Doesn't mean you can't give encouragement or reassurance, but avoid that repetitive nagging of the core instruction.
Wow. Okay, these are all really concrete things. Not overly complicated, but things you could, like, start trying immediately.
Absolutely. They're very actionable. And if you want to dig deeper into any of this or find loads more on child well-being, omegapediatrics.com is the place to go.
Yes, definitely check that out. It's omegapediatrics.com. They have a ton of great resources based on the article we discussed and much more.
Really comprehensive stuff there.
So if you found this Have More Babies discussion useful, we'd love it if you'd like this video.
And subscribe to the channel for more.
Yep, subscribe. And maybe share it with a friend, another parent, anyone who might find these tips helpful.
And maybe think about this. Which one of these strategies we talked about, the language, the calmness, supervision, warmth, saying it once, which one feels like it might be the most maybe surprising or perhaps challenging for you to implement consistently?
That's a great question for reflection. Because sometimes those small shifts in how we communicate can, well, really change the dynamic, right? Lead to much better cooperation.
Definitely worth thinking about.
Well, thanks for tuning in today as we explored getting kids to cooperate.
Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.